solutions. It cannot fit to all, but you'll have to identify which one fit into your country. So this is something good about finance solutions that we had on the list, especially on the wall. Institutionalization of biodiversity in our own country at different stages. So this is something that, of course, it's a take back to learn from. And the other one is the involvement of the private sector, especially the banking, who are now paying much attention into coming into, doing some assistance to biodiversity funding. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. All right, well, thanks for sharing those and for having that quick discussion at the tables. We wanted to just create a space for you to share those while you're together. And there are going to be a couple of other ways that we're going to capture the learning from this, share that with you, and collect further feedback. And I'd like to invite Oscar. Where's Oscar? Oscar, to say a few words about the monitoring and evaluation. So he's not looking at me right now, so it's going to be a surprise. Oscar. You have to do it on the camera.
Thank you. So I'm Oscar Huertas. I'm the monitoring and evaluation advisor within the global team. And as a part of the evaluation process, we want to learn from this great experience during these 3 days. We want to hear your opinions, your perception on what happened. So we will be launching an online survey. I will be sending an email with a link for a survey, so you can click on and tell us about your opinion on the results, what you took from this event, the learnings, the highlights, and maybe the problems or the things you didn't like, so we can improve for the next events, the regional workshops, and so on. And also, we will be sending you a report of this conference with the memoirs. There will be a highlights video and multimedia packages coming up, so please be aware of that, and we will be sending that information to you. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. So something else you're going to be taking from this event is going to be your posters and things in the marketplace. So James reminded me to remind all of you, if you would like to take the things that you used in your marketplace stall back with you, you're welcome to do that. You need to collect them after this session. And there are also the photographs from the competition, which you're also welcome to take. So don't forget those if those are a part of your kind of checked luggage or hand luggage on your way home. The last part of our closing session, I'm going to give the floor to Ano, and he's got a couple of people who are going to share some thoughts with you about the future and next steps. So, Ano, over to you.
Thank you. As you know, all things come to an end, including global BIOFIN conferences. So we're very close to that end. I would like to invite 3 more people to say a few final words. We're going to look a little bit to the future, what's next from here, and also, of course, look a little bit back. So first of all, I would like to call Mr. Marcus Lehmann from the Convention on Biological Diversity Secretariat to please join me. As well as Mr. Jose Fidel Santana, the Vice Minister of Environment from Cuba. And Dr. Meena Kumari, the Chairperson for the National Biodiversity Authority, who's going to provide closing words. So, Marcus, we're going to start with you. We all know that about the IG targets, and that they're actually going to end soon. And we are hoping for a sneak preview of what's going to happen next in the CBD. So over to you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Ono. I actually have 2 quick points to make. First of all, feeding progress back to the global process. You might not be surprised about that. Let me start by saying that I was really impressed by the progress made as presented here, both by the national BIOFIN teams in terms of delivering on the BIOFIN methodology, and at last delivering numbers. I was intrigued to see them yesterday at the marketplace and collected a ton of leaflets and documentation. But also, my congratulations to the global BIOFIN team for the further progress made on the BIOFIN methodology. It's my impression that it's really getting increasingly a common methodology, and that this group here is becoming really a community of practice, having their own language, acronyms, etc., which is, I think, a very good sign. I also learned that even though it is a capacity building project for developing countries, that the BIOFIN methodology actually garners increased interest among developed countries for their own national processes, which I think is also a very positive development. Now, there is a need to feed these results back into the global process in form of the financial reporting framework. I was pleased to hear that delegates confirmed that the reporting framework is very well aligned with the BIOFIN methodology. So once you have the BIOFIN results, it's really very easy to put that back into the reporting framework, which is just a relatively short questionnaire with a few tables. So I saw that some of the countries already did that, and I want to thank you for them. But I would also like to invite those countries who did not yet do it to please do it at your earliest convenience. I know that these reporting obligations are always a bit onerous when the focus is on national implementation, getting things done, but on the other hand, it helps to make the global process stronger, and that's for the benefit of everyone. So that's my first point. And the second point is actually, on the post-2020 global biodiversity framework. As you all know, the strategic plan, the current strategic plan, and the IG targets will expire in 2020. And we are now in the process, or we are initiating a process to work towards the post-2020 global biodiversity framework. So we already had 2 rounds of consultations based on notifications sent by the Secretariat. We had already one discussion at the last Subster in November. We are going to have a next round at the upcoming SBI meeting, the subsidiary body of implementation, in July. Now, what happened so far was really look at the 2050 vision of the strategic plan, and in very general terms, look at the shape the process shall look like. So there was identification of criteria. The process needs to be inclusive, open, transparent, etc., etc. But the specifics are still to be hammered out. The timeline is that COP13 will adopt a roadmap for the process leading towards the post-2020 framework, and then COP15 in China will adopt the framework late 2020. So there is, of course, and this is of course very important for the finance community gathered in this room, because the resource mobilization machinery associated with the strategic plan, that is IG Biodiversity Target 20, the strategy for resource mobilization, and the targets for resource mobilization, which were adopted in 2014, they're all going to expire too. So the question is then, what next? I think there would be readily agreement that we have to have a strong finance component in the post-2020 framework. Now, the question is what precise shape or form that should take. And in order to decide on that, or to develop this, I think we will need a strong contribution from the finance community, basically from the BIOFIN community, from the community of practice gathered in this room. It can fundamentally take 2 avenues. The first avenue is, of course, at the national level. The BIOFIN national teams can share their experiences, share their lessons learned, with the national focal point and through the national focal point to the global process. And I just had a very interesting session on looking at the BIOFIN experiences for the NBSUB revision. So it would be kind of looking at the BIOFIN experiences for the upcoming finance component. And of course, the second avenue is to provide input and food for thought from the global process itself, from BIOFIN as a global initiative. So, and then this input needs to be fed into the global discussion and eventually into the negotiations among parties towards the adoption of the post-2020 framework, and for a strong and timely finance component. So with that, I would just invite you to stay tuned to that process as it's being rolled out now, and be ready when the opportunity arises to provide your ideas, your experiences, your lessons learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. It sounds like we have a very interesting process ahead of us, and I think as a biodiversity finance community, I'm sure we accept your invitation to think along with the CBD about what should be, the concepts to work on for the coming decades in terms of biodiversity finance. All right, next I think it's, since we're looking forward in this session, and very soon we'll have our regional workshop starting again. And we are so happy that among the hosts is going to be Cuba. And therefore I would like to invite the Vice Minister, Mrs. Santana, to say a few words about the plans they have in Cuba in the near future.
Thank you very much. I speak in Spanish. Please take your earphone. Primero que todo, felicidades a las mujeres, que es una de las especies que más hay que defender en este Día Internacional de la Mujer. Agradecer profundamente al Programa de Naciones Unidas para el Desarrollo, al PNUD, sobre todo la Oficina Cuba, en el apoyo que nos han dado en comprender, en enseñar y en acompañarnos y facilitar todos los procesos de comprensión y la importancia que tiene la defensa de la biodiversidad y el tema del financiamiento que demanda para poder tener éxito en las metas que nos hemos propuesto. La incertidumbre esa de si hay más BIOFIN o no hay más BIOFIN, si se termina o no se termina ahora, si hay fondos o no hay fondos para seguirnos acompañando, es una cosa que nos compromete a esas enseñanzas, poderlas incorporar y un poco convertirnos en mayores de edad y soltando la mano de ese padre que nos ha enseñado, ¿no? Y eso es una de las metas que todos tenemos que tener en cuenta, de que en un momento determinado tenemos que tener autoconsistencia, tenemos que tener capacidades propias para poder seguir desarrollando BIOFIN hacia el futuro. Es una de las aprendizajes que también hemos tenido en Cuba. También agradecer la oportunidad de integrar a los diferentes organismos, tanto financieros como ambientales, como ciencia y tecnología, que han sido oportunidades imprescindibles para poder reafirmar el compromiso político y realizar a nivel de las prioridades de la alta dirección del país, en nuestro caso, escribiendo en la Estrategia Nacional de Desarrollo uno de los 6 ejes estratégicos que están escritos para el desarrollo hasta 2030, son los recursos naturales y el medio ambiente, que tiene un aval con un plan de Estado para el enfrentamiento al cambio climático, que recoge en su letra la importancia de la biodiversidad para ser reconocida, y consecuente con eso es una de las ventajas que se ha podido aportar a partir de lo que el proyecto BIOFIN nos ha permitido convencer, nos ha permitido educar, nos ha permitido preparar a las altas autoridades del país en estos temas. También es importante poder considerar los mecanismos financieros hacia adentro del país, porque en la condición nuestra de país insular, que cuenta con pocos recursos, una de las cuestiones que a veces no nos comprenden o no comprendemos es que nos vienen con los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, que como todos sabemos tienen mucho de medio ambiente, nos vienen con el cambio climático y el Acuerdo de París, que es plenamente medio ambiente, y cuando llegamos con el tema de la biodiversidad y conservar las especies y el mecanismo financiero de BIOFIN, dice otra cosa más para hasta el medio ambiente. Entonces, una de las cosas que nos ha enseñado el proyecto también es poder integrar estos diferentes enfoques que a fin de cuentas tienen objetivos comunes y poder trasladar esa idea, esa afinidad de principio y una mejor comprensión de que como hay un solo planeta, hay un solo medio ambiente, y en el medio ambiente hay que defenderlo todo, y no hay unas cuestiones que tienen más prioridad que otras, sino que todo está integrado y una interrelación muy fuerte y una sinergia que hay que defenderlo de manera integral. Por último, muy importante es poder llevar esto a la práctica, porque tenemos metodología, tenemos conocimiento, pero esto hay que llevarlo del dicho al hecho. Hay que establecer mecanismos, hay que establecer indicadores, hay que evaluar, hay que hacer monitoreo, evaluar cuánto avanzamos, tener líneas base, porque realmente hay una premisa que si aquello que no se mide no puede saber cómo se comporta, ni puede saberse cómo se mejora, y por tanto es muy importante ese seguimiento y esa comparación para poder tomar las medidas correctoras en el momento más oportuno y poder asegurar el avance a las metas que nos hemos propuesto en las estrategias nacionales que también nos han incorporado y nos han acompañado en poder elaborar y aprobar. Finalmente, quisiera agradecer personalmente en la persona de Marlon Flores, el asesor regional para BIOFIN, que nos ha acompañado, nos ha conducido de la mano, nos ha exigido, nos ha ayudado hasta en cuestión elementales de logística, que habla mucho de la calidad humana que tiene y de la solidaridad y humildad con que entrega todas sus capacidades, que realmente creo que no sería justo si no hiciera este reconocimiento personal al amigo Marlon. Y finalmente, como decía acá el colega, tenemos una próxima reunión regional del 22 al 24 de mayo en La Habana, que le pediría a todos para que nos apoyen, para que nos ayuden. Trámite de visa en Cuba es 60 días antes. Nosotros nos comprometemos en que vamos a hacer todos los esfuerzos para que eso se facilite. Sabemos que hay intereses personales de los participantes de otros temas colaterales que también estamos trabajando para poderlos ayudar, pero todo está replanteado. Recientemente tuvimos una reunión de coordinación que creo que se avanzó de manera importante en la organización de esta reunión regional, que les garantizo que va a ser un éxito y que serán bienvenidos, y tenemos los brazos abiertos para esperarlo en la Cuba. Y al que no tenga la experiencia de conocerla, van a saber de que es mucho mejor que como la gente habla. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. We definitely look forward to that workshop. I would like to ask now Dr. Mina Kumar, the chairperson of the National Biodiversity Authority, to share some final closing words.
Dear friends on the dais and the delegates of the 3rd Global BIOFIN Conference, Finance for Nature, a very good evening for all of you. As Ono rightly pointing out, every good thing has to come to an end. Today, we are closing the 3-day-long third Global BIOFIN Conference, a congregation of 30 countries coming together and sharing their wisdom for better tomorrow. I am sure you will agree with me that fruitful discussions and deliberations has taken place, which makes Chennai Global Conference a milestone event in the entire BIOFIN process. We made a lot of friends in the process and also taken a lot of good learnings. The topic of this closing plenary is to discuss the future of biodiversity finance for each country. I think in the last 3 days, we discussed exactly that. Still, you all would agree that there is no single solution for the issue of biodiversity finance. As we discussed today, the government is still dominant stakeholder, but we all agree that this situation cannot continue and there are needs needs for a concerted effort at all levels to increase the funding for biodiversity. There is a need to break away from the traditional process of business as usual scenario, and this global conference is one such attempt. This needs scaling up of finance and people's participation as well. It gives me immense pleasure to address you in this concluding session, where we are now having a shared vision as how to move forward in mobilizing resources and funds for a sustained biodiversity fortune for future. A world today is facing multiple challenges such as biodiversity loss, climate change, desertification, land degradation, disaster risk management, and most importantly, meeting sustainable development goals. The loss of biological diversity is a problem far more complex and largely irreversible. If we save the living environment, we would also save the physical non-living environment, as it is interdependent. This requires resources and concerted efforts at all levels, starting from the layman to the highest administrative and political powers. A conference like this will have always its importance, as it attracts the attention of both the decision makers and the common man. Each one of us will return home having a wealth of information gathered during the 3 days, and also strive for making the biological resources as we see today available for future. Friends, as we say goodbye, I hope you have enjoyed the stay in this beautiful temple city, and hope we have not let you down in any way. Any inconvenience caused is deeply regretted. Please do carry good memories of Chennai back home. Personally, for me, as chair of the National Biodiversity Authority, it was an enjoyable learning experience and a bunch of thoughts to take forward. India is fully engaged with BIOFIN process at the highest levels. We are willing to take forward the learnings to its logical conclusion and look forward to a continued engagement in this endeavor. And finally, I thank the efforts of the global team for putting this great event in place successfully, especially to those who have played an important role behind the scene. My hearty thanks to the Team India for their support during this conference. And lastly, but not the least, thanks to my colleagues in the National Biodiversity Authority who are taking the pleasure of hosting the BIOFIN in India. May I, while telling you goodbye, once again wish all women delegates a happy Women's Day, and let us hope women's power will never go unnoticed. Thank you very much once again. We will disperse to meet again soon. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, and we really hope that meetings like these do indeed help to develop this kind of joint vision, a shared vision for the future of biodiversity and biodiversity finance. Thank you so much. Now, maybe you all think that we're done, but I will just, use the last moments to give a small sneak preview of BIOFIN Phase 2, because many of you may have wondered why nobody is saying anything about that during this workshop, even though it's imminent. So we have actually a very brief animation that shows the journey, how we got here and to BIOFIN Phase 2, and I would like to ask our team to start it now. And it looks like we have quite a lot of history already, but we hope we have more future ahead of us than history behind us for BIOFIN. And let me just, as I said, tell very, very briefly what are the main concepts for BIOFIN Phase 2. So, first of all, we go back to the objective of BIOFIN. The original objective of BIOFIN was developing a methodology to rethink the way we finance biodiversity finance in countries. Now, you may think that we continue to do that. We're going to develop the 2018 workbook, 2020, and so on. And maybe in around 40 years from now, we're still doing that, launching the 2060 BIOFIN workbook. What do you think? Is that the way we're going forward? No, it's not. It's all about implementation. So we feel that the methodology is very robust. Of course, we still keep improving it and add more of your rich lessons. But the main focus is on countries, on implementation, results on the ground. So just in a very brief nutshell, on BIOFIN Phase 2, we have two components, a global one, where we do things like this, global conferences, regional workshops, knowledge management, and in particular, one of the main things we want to work on is the guidance series on finance solutions of the Conservation Finance Alliance. But the most important part will be national implementation. So we have the ambition to continue with all the countries that are already involved, so that's why I'm saying up to 30, implement the finance plan and implement finance solutions. And second, we also hope to still expand and welcome new countries. We have so far said up to 15, and we know that we already can welcome 5. And finally, we're going to continue with our mechanism of regional nodes, giving any country in the world access to the BIOFIN knowledge and learning. But this is maybe what you're really interested in. Of course, we know for implementation, we need more money. So we have already had one round of resource mobilization, and this year we have our second round. And we hope after this round, every country will have an allocation for BIOFIN Phase 2, and hopefully a very good one. But we're also going to have a third round of resource mobilization in 2020. So that is really very briefly a discussion about BIOFIN Phase 2. And I think that's enough for today. And now I would just like to thank a few people. First of all, I really want to thank the government of India for hosting us here. In particular, of course, the National Biodiversity Authority, but also all the organizations that have been involved. And in particular, the chairperson is Dr. Meena Kumar. And I would like to mention also the secretary, Mr. Ravi Kumar, who's also here, and he has been very instrumental to help with the visa issue. So I think big applause for both of you. Then next, I want to, thank every one of you for coming here and participating. But I would like to especially thank all the speakers. So if you were a speaker in this event, please stand up, and a warm round of applause for all the speakers. It's been an amazing and very interesting flow of dialogue and technical knowledge, which I think has not been seen anywhere else in terms of biodiversity finance. And then I would like to thank the hotel team for setting up an amazing venue, and everything ran very smoothly. And I would like to thank the people sitting there in the back doing the interpretation. It was very smooth and very good, thank you. And they're actually part of a team which is called, which is an event company. So for the first time we engaged a company to help out and make it look splendid. And in fact, it did. And that has really helped us. And it was so much easier to organize this conference. So a big applause for the event company. And please stand up over there. Then, of course, we have those organizations that made it all possible, our donors. We have, of course, the governments of the European Union, the founding donor. We have government of Germany, Switzerland, Norway, and Flanders. We have some representative here. Please stand up and a very big applause for those delegates, please. And also a very big welcome, very big thanks for some of the other partners that helped to design joint sessions, mobilize participants, and make a lot of contributions. I would in particular also like to thank our high-level participants who have very, very tight agenda, but they prioritized this conference. And I would like to point out in particular the Minister of Environment from Ecuador, the Minister of Environment from Zambia, and a big applause for them and all the other high-level participants, please. Next, I would like to thank our global BIOFIN team. That's the team who put in a lot of energy in all the organizational aspects, design of each session, mobilize participants, and communicate with countries, give you the latest information and mobilize speakers and so on. So a big applause. Please, global team, stand up. Then I would like to thank the person who made sure that each part of this conference was very nicely connected to each other and helped us to design it. Gillian, thank you. It was wonderful to have you. We are really happy to have, such a high quality design and facilitation of this workshop that really helps to bring it to the next level. So it was fantastic to work with you again. And next, I would like to thank the India country office team who played a very big role in the organization. In particular also Ruchi, who is not here right now because she's called on so many good causes, and Manisha and everybody else has been involved. A big round of applause to all of you. And now I'm on my last note, and of course some people do for a workshop more than others, so I would like to call 3 people who have done more than anyone else for this workshop. And please come forward. The first person is Suhina, who has done so much in terms of helping with all the logistical support, all the preparations, liaising with hotels. Please come here. Please come to the front. The second person is, he may not expect it, James. James, I think this particular conference you brought to a next level in terms of communications, the marketplace, and we are really grateful for that. So please come here on the podium. And of course, the main driving force behind this workshop is Samurai. So please come join me on the stage. So I think in the end, we are a big community, but in the end, we are not such a big group in the organization. I think these are some of the key people that I really would like to highlight who did something special and made this conference a success. So please give your biggest applause yet. Okay, and I've run out of my list, so we continue the BIOFIN journey. We look forward to work with all of you on the ground, be in workshop and national implementation. And I wish you all a good journey home and see you somewhere on the globe. So thank you everybody and bye-bye. And see you in the next BIOFIN meeting. Now it's really finished.
Oh, James, we're your biggest fan club.
Check.